I've done things, Han. Things I'm not proud of. That's why I came up here, living the solitary life. Wanted to figure out who I was, who I am, who I want to be. You take it from old Gus. All a man's got is who he is. You remember them words, Han. You remember them words. Okay people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Tonight I'm taking a look at the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series Range Trooper from Solo. Now everybody knows that I love troopers, but I went out of my way was it last month before or something, I saw this trooper and I thought, hey, it looks a little bit individual. It looks a little bit personalized. So during the weekly, on the fly, I came up with a personality, and at least in my head, it kind of stuck. And that would be Gus the Mountain Man. He salvaged some trooper parts, some armor, some coats. Maybe he's even defected from the Empire. And if these guys turn out cool in the movie, I'm perfectly fine leaving this as just a trooper. But if they just have a short scene or kind of background characters, I have no problem making this into a bounty hunter or my Mountain Man. Looking at the package, it's your standard Star Wars Black Series packaging. Black picture, red in the background, figure in front. The Range Trooper is number 64 in the series. On the back there's the pretty picture, the bio. Down here is the warnings, the unreadables. Probably says something like, watch out for old Gus, you never know what he's gonna do. On the side, that stylized font, they got in Range Trooper. On the top, pitch black. On the bottom, legalese, warnings, more unreadables, UPC. So I'm gonna get this out of the package and see if he's gonna be a trooper or if he's gonna be my Mountain Man. Out of the package, because this was all smashed down, it's a little bit flat. I need to fluff it up just a little bit. That's better. And there we go, all out of the package. And I have to say, I dig the bulkiness on this, but bulkiness comes with its own set of problems. Looking at the sculpt, it's a very nice individual sculpt. There is no reused parts here. And I've said that before, and I'm usually full of shit, but I think pretty damn sure that this doesn't reuse any parts. It calls back to some of the other armors we've already had, but the mix and match of parts makes it its own entity. The Snowtrooper or AT-AT Commander type chest piece. The cod piece seems a little wide for anything we've seen. Pouches, the furry jacket underneath for winter weather, and I think the thing that sticks out the most here is the foot gear. I have no clue what this is. It's interesting with all the pipes and the pistons and whatever the hell it does. Does it make them jump higher? Does it make them run faster? Is it some kind of magnetic clamps on bottom for snow boot attachments or skis or whatever else he does out in the snow? And I'm only assuming it's snow because the uniform is white and he looks dressed for winter weather. And then the paints, the red and blue lights in various places, they're painted on nicely, and then the dirtiness of the uniform. It's kind of scuffed on the armor pieces, but it doesn't really carry over to the cloth, well, you know, the sculpted jacket, the sculpted pants, and even the boots. Everything else seems kind of clean with some, you know, like motor grease thrown on the armor. Almost like he got the armor from somebody else that had been working on a car. But then we get to the helmet, and again, this is not reuse. It looks very close to some of the Rogue One helmets we got, but it's not. Paint job, again, makes it scuffy on the front, although it looks like he just did a header down the road a little bit. The rest of the helmet's not really dirty. And then what draws your eye is the gold of the lens in the helmet. That's just an odd choice, but I kind of like it. Now, I said the bulkiness had its problems, and that would be in the articulation department, mostly the range. It took a couple times for me to figure out the arms. They have more movement than you think they do, but when you get to the legs, because this is a plastic skirt piece or bottom of the jacket, it really gets in the way of the legs. And it doesn't help that these big freaking boots also kind of hinder your dynamic posing. It looks like they tried, but it doesn't really work because of the design here. And then there's this separate piece right here. It is a separate piece in the hinge of the ankle, but there's a detent holding it in place with this. So I'm not quite sure if that's meant to stay somewhere. I don't know what's going on there. This cod piece really gets in the way. It's not soft at all. And I like the fur around the neck, the top of the jacket, whatever this is meant to be, but I don't like that it doesn't match here. I feel like this should be cloth down here. And in fact, that would have opened up a lot of articulation and would have made everything match overall. So either make this plastic or make this cloth. And this being cloth, I don't think it would have worked and got this same effect across. Because the wrinkliness and the thickness is carried up over into the chest and then down the arms with the seam lines. So it would have had to been a full cloth coat, and I don't think that would have worked. But my big thing, like I said, I came up with my own backstory for this, and I went to pull the head off, and the head is molded around the ball. I mean, you can't just grab it and pull. That thing was super tight. I had to heat the head up, and I couldn't do it with air because I was afraid I was going to burn this. So I heated up some water and dipped them down just far enough to where I wasn't going to get this wet, just in case. I didn't want to mess it up at all. Got it soft enough and it finally popped, and then I dremeled the hole bigger so that I could be able to pull it off anytime I wanted to. And here's another interesting thing. We saw this with Forlom last week, but here's slots here to kind of hollow the helmet out a little bit. Is that a plastic saving measure? I'm not sure, because it is also right here on the back of the arm, which, by the way, is a huge ass arm socket. This is really hollowed out, and I'm thinking that's so the arm can come down to its side. But you get the arm up and it looks kind of weird. If you hate soft goods, you can pop off the head, remove that, and pop the head back on, and that'll give you this look, which isn't terrible. I mean, it's like missing the top of his jacket, but I'm going to leave that on just to go over the articulation. Even though they updated some of the other figures in this series with a dumbbell joint at the neck, this one still uses the old school hinge going up to a ball in the head. So you can get forward, you can get back, and because I dremeled the hole a little bit bigger, he has more side to side than he did out of the package. And then of course swivel. There's a huge ass detent in the shoulder. Nailed it. For the hinge and swivel, but you can pop it and it goes higher than 90. Swivels around. Hinge and swivel at the elbow comes up past 90 actually, and which is not bad for a thick looking jacket like that. There's a hinge and swivel at the wrist, but because of the sleeve coming down over the hand, it's pretty much useless. You get a little bit and then a little bit of swivel if you work it inside the sleeve. Dumbbell joint at the lower abdomen. You can get back, you can get no forward. The armors run into each other. Get a little bit of tilt if you kind of work it around those pouches. Ball going out to the hip, and because of the jacket hanging down, you can kind of work it, but you get out that far. Forward just runs into the cod piece. Terrible problem to have. Back, whole lot of nothing. There's a swivel at the thigh, but then we have a hinge and swivel at the knee also. Twists there, hinge back. About 90. Hinge at the ankle, surprising amount back. Actually surprising forward too. Yeah, it's that far, but for whatever the hell this is, I'm happy with that. And then a little bit of forward facing pin, but it doesn't do much. For accessories, he comes with a blaster. It looks like an E11. It looks like standard Stormtrooper, but it's different than what we got with the Scarif Stormtrooper and the tank driver. Their scopes are further back. This one's up here on the I'm not sure if we got this with something else, but it looks cool. And then he's got a right trigger finger hand, goes right in. For comparison, here he is with the Rogue One tank driver and Scarif Stormtrooper. You can see the helmets are similar, but there is a difference between them. Here he is. I'm laughing because I've tried to say this 16 times. Here he is with the Black Series Empire Strikes Back Hoth Snowtrooper. Chest piece looks close, but again, no reuse here. Whoa, the crotch pieces look similar here too, but they are different sculpts. But you can see that it kind of borrows aesthetics from that old Snowtrooper. And I forgot what a pain in the ass this thing is to stand. And then for scale, here he is next to the Black Series Original Trilogy Stormtrooper. Not bad scale at all. I thought this guy was going to be a little bit big. Nope, just bulky. So at the end of the day, a nice addition to my trooper army, but a little bit problematic. I like the bulkiness, I have to admit that, but man, does it hinder articulation. You're not going to get these into dynamic poses. And they say this is a frontier trooper. I can imagine 3, 4, 5 of them, you know, walking their way through the woods or the snow or wherever the hell they are. And I haven't seen the movie, so this may change here in a month or two, but I don't feel the need to get more of these. They would just be too much the same. I could remove the collar, or I could add some different boots or different legs, mix and match. But again, that's my own personal take on it. I don't know what the official take is yet. But just looking at it, it doesn't look uniform. It doesn't look like it's a uniform. At this point, I'm heavily leaning towards my Mountain Man Renegade, because the design itself borrows from several different troopers and kind of mashes them together. I feel like that would just be a dude salvaging stuff. I like this helmet, I like this jacket, I want this armor from this dude, and here I go again on my own, going down the only road I've ever known. But yeah, that's one of the problems in general with releasing figures before the movie's out. I'm kind of excited to see Solo, but I don't know what the hell's going on, and that's a good thing. I like going into the movie not knowing. So here I am doing this review of a figure I have no clue about, and then after the movie I'll figure out where he's going on the shelf. But right now I'm having too much fun with it. I just wish it could get into more poses than it actually can. So if you like the review, comment, like, subscribe. I'll catch you on the Fwoosh. Got me a cousin, cooks the best spice this side of Tatooine, but he's got the meanest finest wife you have ever seen. We call her the Wookiee. Not because she looks like one, but the temper on that woman, whew! That doesn't change my cousin's mind, though. He loves her more than the day he met her. Ain't that right, Snowball Pete? That's right.